Hi everybody, Steve Anderson with Be All Over, and here I am with Will Swenson. Nice to have Will with us. You'll recognize, I'm sure, Will has done so much in this area here. Writer, producer, director actually of Boys of Provo. Sons of Provo, I'm going to get the name right. Sons of Provo. It's been a while. How long ago was it that came out?
We shot the film in 2004 and it came out in 2005.
I am going to be in a boy band.
I have always been in touch with the dance. To me, life is a dance.
I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm competitive.
It's great that we're able to mix the love with the funk.
I have extremely high hopes for this band.
Evergleam's my favorite band. Anyone that screws up a move gets down and gives me 20.
I want to get out in the street. I want to start dancing.
No, it's a C. You're singing a B flat, and it's a C. You're sliding down every time. Take it again.
Sons of Provo, and I think you've done actually a little follow-up of that right now, haven't you, lately?
Yeah, we just put out a new little follow-up to it. It's a little half-an-hour documentary called Sons of Provo Confidential. It's about the rise and fall of the band and what happened to the band breaking up. And it's got that little half-an-hour movie and a few little extra snippets of some crazy fans that have made music videos for us. We put some silly stuff in there. And also 4 new songs that didn't make the film the first time. So we just finished up some of the songs that we had halfway done and went into the studio and finished those and put those out.
Well, that's terrific. And people recognize you from other things too. You were in the original Singles Ward. In fact, that's what we're doing right now. We're on the set of the Singles Ward. Isn't it? It's exciting to be on a set, isn't it? Well, do you get that same kind of electricity going when you see the lights and the gaffers out working? And
well, it's fun for the first 10 minutes. And then you sit around. A lot of people think that the filmmaking is super glamorous, and it's really tedious work. You sit around 9/10 of the day, and then for 1/10 of the day, it's just intense acting. That's right. Get it right, kind of thing. But
that's right.
It's pretty tedious.
The hurry up and wait part. But
yes.
I remember one person saying once, a director say, "Quiet, settle everybody. This will be around when we're all dead." And so there is that longevity part to it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
You do something that it's going to be around for a while.
Yeah.
Now you're actually a hometown boy here. We're down here in the Provo area here today shooting this at a reception center. We're about a week into what is a 3-4 week shoot. But you were born in this area, didn't stay too long, is that right?
Yep, I was born actually in Cache Valley, way up north in Utah, and then my family moved around a bunch when I was a kid. I grew up in Los Angeles until I was about 14, and then we moved back to Salt Lake. I went to high school in Salt Lake, and then I went to college at BYU.
College BYU, and you told me your family actually was involved with the Hale Center Theater, maybe still are involved with it. And you grew up, you're truly born in a trunk, right? I mean,
pretty much.
That old expression. You grew up on the stage acting, and now here you are doing all of that year, all these years later. And so you majored in drama, musical theater, and BYU?
Yep, I majored in musical theater.
And got your first professional gig here, though, in this state, I guess, huh?
Pretty much. When I was in high school, I auditioned for a few local things, and I did some TV and film, and did a few films for the church, the Mormon church, and then out of college, I got my first professional stage job at Disney World, the happiest place on earth.
Yeah.
And that's what I've done with my time mostly since I graduated from college, is doing theater.
And the theater's been good to you too, because you said that you met your wife at a young age at the Hale Center Theater.
Yep, that's true.
Did they cast you in roles opposite each other and you were smitten immediately? What happened there?
We did do one show together. We met when I was 15. We were doing this silly little tap dancing 20s musical. An original thing that my grandma had wrote. My grandma was Ruth Hale.
Right.
And we would do a lot of the plays that she had written herself. And so we were doing this little musical, and that's where I met my wife. We didn't date at first, right off the bat, but we knew each other pretty well. We ended up going to high school together, and then college together too, because she went to BYU as well. So we eventually started dating. And
had all that going for you.
Yeah.
Some time ago, though, you've actually moved to New York City, Manhattan, right?
Yep.
And are in a play now.
I am. It's called 110 in the Shade.
The musical adaptation
of The Rainmaker. Yep. It's starring Audra McDonald and John Cullum. And it's a really pretty show.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you've actually had a lot of work at live theater there, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been able to keep pretty busy. Yeah. Miss Saigon. My last Broadway show prior to this one was Elton John's vampire musical Lestat, which was one of the biggest flops in Broadway history.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
No, I didn't even hear of that.
It was a $20 million disaster, and I played a vampire and had fangs and white face and everything.
But
yeah.
and yeah, they had the music of Elton John, but it didn't survive.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was produced by Warner Brothers, had tons of money behind it, Elton John's name on it, and based on the Anne Rice novels. So you'd think it had a lot going for it. All those people have a lot of clout and a big following. But we just got really bad reviews and closed quickly.
And in New York, there's one place where reviews can put you out the next day, don't they? It's not like a movie where it opens across the country. In New York, the head newspapers, if they nix it, you're pretty much
it's kind of all about the New York Times Review for some reason.
That particular one.
Review just carries all of the power.
How is it to be living the life of an actor? I suppose you've wanted to do that for some time.
Yeah,
enjoying
I guess. I mean, I love it. I can't picture myself doing anything else. I grew up, you know, in the theater, and I love it. It's not easy though, and I mean, I feel like I've been fairly fortunate and successful in the business. I've been able to, you know, keep busy and make a living and make money, but theater doesn't pay very much, and New York City's a pretty expensive town to live in, so it's been tricky.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And you have 2 children.
Do have 2 little boys. Yeah. Yep.
So you're making it go. A lot of people would say, "I wish I could do that," but you're saying the road is not an easy one to hoe, as they say.
It's not terribly lucrative. I mean, film makes a lot more money. I've been able to do a few things on TV and on bigger venues, and you know, one little gig on a national TV show on a network pays more than, you know, 2 months of a Broadway show.
It's so much better. Well, here we are back here with the Singles Ward 2. And that was, as you say, 4 or 5 years ago. Now they're reprising the roles.
I hate Mormon dating. Your phone call is never enough. It's always got to be some cloak and dagger thing.
Well, welcome to the real world.
I'm not supposed to like you. I'm going on a mission, and it's kind of bad timing to get involved with someone right now.
As I walked around here, I saw a lot of familiar faces.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I've never done any kind of sequel before, and it's been so cool that we shot the first film 6 years ago. And everybody's a little older and a little fatter. I am, at least. And, but it's been really cool to see all these other people, old people, in the same group.
That you had lines with 6 years ago, and now they're reprising the same roles, playing the same kind of goofy characters, and trying to strike gold again. Because as I recall, that first show set a box office attendance in this particular area for the most people in the theater on given, I think, the opening weekend and so forth.
Yeah. I mean, it was on the front end of, there was kind of this wave of Mormon cinema, and it was I think there had been maybe one movie made prior to it, but it was the first kind of comedy, at least.
Right.
And it just had such a following at first. It was such a novelty that it had a good little box office run. And
it did. Oh, we hope the second one will pay off. But as you say, the first one, bit of a novelty. I know some of the other ones have tailed off a little bit. Sometimes, even though sometimes the reviews have been pretty good. But that newness, the fact that it was the first, has happened. But a lot of people, I was talking to Kurt Hale, he said he gets a lot of emails from people saying, we want to see a Singles Ward 2. There are a lot of people who were you know, just enamored with that first show and want to see your character picked up again. And we got Kirby Hayborn and a bunch of other people that...
this film's a little bit more about Kirby's character.
Is that?
And well, unfortunately with my schedule as well, it's been tricky to find a window where I could come out for 3 weeks, and it's tough not to break up that much time in a Broadway show. So
you're flying back on it.
I'm flying back tomorrow night, and you know, I'm just racing back and forth across the country to try to get this in. But this film's a little bit more about Kirby's character. He's the one kind of leaving the Singles Ward, and he's coming to my character for advice, kind of. In this one.
And so we probably post-production, it could be, I suppose, a half a year or so before we finally see it. But now you write and direct and so forth. You got anything else in the works right now?
I am like every writer, and I have about 5 screenplays that are halfway
always
done.
Going something in the
drawer. Something that I can't seem to finish.
Well, Mark Twain used to keep them and then come back, and sometimes they do age and they get a little bit better. You get an idea, you're stalemated for a while, and so then it takes off. Well, it's so great to have you back in. We're talking with our producer, Debbie, and she said her friends, her girlfriends, have always said, you're talking to him, you know, he is a real star from our local area. I think you have a really big, huge fan base here.
I'm popular with the 14-year-old demographic.
Well, even I think some of the older women, as we've seen here, so they're going to be interested to know you're still at it, still acting on Broadway. Great way to keep the old talent alive too. Something about acting in front of a live audience, isn't it?
I really love it. Yeah. I just really prefer the theater.
Yeah, there's an
to
immediate
film.
response, isn't it? You never know when it's in the, you're on the set, you have to do it 7 or 8 times, nobody's
Yeah.
laughing or doing anything by the end.
Right.
You don't know whether it stinks or
Right.
not.
There's a great energy on stage,
there
and something
is.
about telling the story all at once in order is really a beautiful thing.
Wow.
In film, you shoot it out of sequence.
Out of
and
sequence,
backwards and
you
forwards.
can't build. It's amazing that they hold together as well as they do. Well, we're so glad you took time from us. I know they're just on a lunch break here, and you've stepped out. We appreciate it so much. This show comes out. We maybe be back for the premiere for it.
Great.
And I hope that you maybe be able to talk with us again when we have a chance to see that show.
That'd be great.
maybe.
We can share a love seat then. As well.
That's right. Which is starting to cave with us here. Will Swenson, ladies and gentlemen, for Be All Over. Back to you in the studio.